Hi, this is Natalie with Vitiligo Voices. I'm really excited to share with you a conversation I had with Chris Mooney, a fellow St. Louisian with vitiligo. We talk about everything from fake cures, new vitiligo spots popping up, and most importantly, how to talk to your children about vitiligo. Hope you enjoy.
I like Vimeo more lately, only because YouTube is just so saturated with a bunch of
Nonsense. Sorry.
lies.
It does.
I mean, when I see people go on there with about vitiligo, and they talk about, oh, I've got this cure. If you just, I wore a copper bracelet, and then and I'm like, I mean, and do you know how many people then, ask? Email me and say, well, how come you don't know about this? And I'm like, well, I mean, because it's not true.
Right.
I mean, there's...
It's snake oil. Yeah.
Just because someone's saying that they did that doesn't mean that it's...
Exactly. There's no third party...
If a copper bracelet worked...
Yeah. Everybody would be wearing one.
That's
Some would be wearing a copper suit.
Well, that's the same thing with cures. And people are always asking me, do you know if there's a cure? Well, my friend told me that this is a cure, like they bought, from somewhere online. I said, look, vitiligo cover isn't a cure. Emotionally, it's a cure because you don't have to think about it.
Yes.
But it's not a cure.
Exactly.
And there is no cure.
Truthfully.
Because it's genetic. So.
And here's one of the major things, and this is what I usually point out. Like, I love people who offer cover-ups because so many people are, especially when you're a teenager, you go through that emotional distress of, do I have pimples? Do I have some flaw that somebody's going to make fun of me and tell me, wow, I don't fit in? But when you have vitiligo, especially when it's obvious, and it grows, it's not like you can touch up every single day and go, I'm fine.
Right.
Because then it grows. Even in my book, I have one chapter that I call Walking Billboard of Shame. And I was adopted by my godparents at a very early age, and I started to develop vitiligo. I obviously was born with two African-American parents. I was adopted by two Caucasian parents, who were my godparents. They didn't know what to do when I started getting it. When I went to the doctor, they said, well, we don't know what to tell you. We're pretty sure it is vitiligo. The only thing that you can do is possibly cover up one color with the other color with some sort of makeup. So we find ourselves in the shop shopping for cover-up.
Right.
They didn't know what they were doing.
Like makeup.
Yes, makeup. It was just regular makeup.
Right.
And so we tried it that first night and put it on, and the first words that uttered out of my mouth was, wow, I'm whole.
Yeah.
And this was me at 6, 7 years old. And so the next day I go to school, and immediately, no longer than my parents driving away as I closed that car door, my friends started laughing and started joking about the fact that I was wearing makeup. It was instantaneous, but that entire day was sort of hell for me.
Sure.
And even when I went onto the playground, it was hot. So the makeup started to melt. My white shirt that I was wearing and my uniform started to brown up everywhere, and there were more jokes.
Yeah.
And that night when I went home, I said, you know what? I never want to do it again. I'm done.
Yeah.
And from then on, I sort of just accepted the fact that I had to live with it and figure out how to live with it. So, but yeah, it felt very shameful because all of it was just sort of my quote-unquote walking billboard of shame. So
sure. Well,
it was
and that's the hard thing. There's some, I guess if some people have just like a small spot on their face, let's say, putting on a thick makeup, it's inconvenient to do it every day.
Yes.
But at least it's easy and they can do it.
Yes.
But to put a makeup all over your body.
Yeah. It's
and
almost an impossibility. Yeah.
And then you have to worry about if you sweat or just get hot, and then your clothes. And
yes.
That's terrible.
I'm all for those who can use some sort of cover-up makeup. If it helps you, then use it. Whatever helps you. I say use it or do it.
Right. And there's people who are. It's almost like you've got two sides. One who are like. Just do whatever makes you happy,
right.
And the others are like, well, I don't need that. I'm too good for that. I'm not gonna,
exactly.
And it's like, it's no different than putting on mascara
Exactly.
or aftershave
Right,
or
right.
washing your hair.
Yeah, it's
You know
no
what I mean?
different.
You're just trying to look your best.
Yeah, right, right,
And that's it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
going to ask you. So you you started seeing vitiligo when you were how old?
Probably about 4, because it was diagnosed when I was about 5.
Okay.
So, I mean, then it really took on effect. I should have probably brought you a picture to show you.
You can email us a picture.
I can email, okay. When I was younger, just about 8 or 9 is when it practically was 50-50 on my body. Everywhere. You couldn't tell. I mean, there was one time where
Well,
I
it
even...
doesn't look like it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that's sort of how it goes on my...
Okay,
and,
yes,
and,
yes.
and get this. This is another really interesting thing, is I also work for the St. Louis Public School District.
Okay.
And so I work with kids and teach kids. And for the first time in my entire life, I actually have vitiligo on my skull.
Oh yeah.
I've never had it. I
Yeah.
had sunburn for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, and
This
it's
summer, and I was
maybe
like,
it
what is wrong
instigated
with
it?
my head? No. It started, and then I got the sunburn, because I'm never used to getting sunburn, because it used to
gotcha.
all be one
Man.
color. And I was just like, oh, I wonder if the hairs will come in like that too. So I started letting my hair grow.
Yeah.
And my kids in my class well, a couple of them started making fun of the fact that I was going bald. And I went, well, you want to touch it? And they touched it and realized that there's hair there.
Right,
But
right.
they're just albino hairs.
Right.
So I really want to grow my hair out now to see, where all the albino hairs are. So,
Well, and I can see that too. Like it's
Yes.
funny because that's the one of the things that I gauged like on my hands. Because see, like isn't it strange? Because in your white patches on your hands, you've got black hair.
yes. And then I have the small spots that this whole patch used to be.
But then you've got other
White.
places. Yeah, like why
Yeah,
does it do
why,
that?
I don't understand.
You know? So the weird thing about it to me, or not weird, I guess
Interesting.
the great news is that, interesting. The great news is that it's not that our body is physically unable to color skin or hair the color that we are supposed to be.
Right.
It's that something's causing those areas, and not just only in the vitiligo. There's something's causing that to happen. It's genetic. So how do you?
Right.
If we could just turn it, off.
I don't know. Where's that
where's
switch?
the switch?
Because I mean, even on my hands from here, all of these freckles that I have from my wrist up into my palm have just developed this year as well. All of the freckles.
Have you been doing anything, or just nothing?
Well, I've been through life. Life in and of itself is stressful.
Well, no, but I mean to reverse it.
I've done nothing to try and reverse it.
Okay, just as
No.
happening. Being out in the sun more, maybe? Because I know I freckle when I'm out in the sun a lot.
I
consistently.
can say that I was in a very stressful relationship last year. That ended, and I have another one that's much better for me and my
So
soul.
maybe happiness has started.
Yes, but then you have to ask what really happened, because at that same time, I started to get vitiligo
I think
on my
it is
skull.
just
I think
willy-nilly. Yeah.
I think it decides.
Yeah.
It goes, well, your levels are here, we'll do this, we've never done this here, let's go here. And that's what I've seen throughout my body, and it changes constantly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and with a darker skin tone, it's really obvious when I get a new spot. I was just looking at my shoulder the other day, and I'm like, where'd that circle come from? I've never seen that out of my peripheral vision, but, I just find it interesting. I guess I've lived with it for so long that it doesn't bother me anymore. I mean, I love wearing hats, but I don't mind going out in public with it looking like I'm going bald, because I really don't care.
Right.
But I have a different thought process than most others. I almost challenge those to look at me instead of not.
Well, now, you said you're a teacher.
Yes.
So one of the questions that I get a lot from parents is people who have vitiligo, who are parents of young kids, so they haven't dealt with this yet, is how do I talk to my kids and their friends about this? How will I introduce or
Excellent.
engage it?
Great question. And I thought about this a lot when you sent me the message, and I had to rethink it a little bit. Okay, let me tell you a story real quick. And this relates, but sort of inadvertently, but advertently, but it also deals with me as well. When I was a young boy, obviously I was not even 1 yet, barely being able to walk because I walked late. I walked at 1, even though all of my other children have walked before they were 7 months old. So I was a late bloomer. I walked on my first birthday, literally. But when I was just a toddler, pulling myself up on things and learning how to walk, my mother was very tired one night, and so she was laying on her bed, and between her and the wall was me. Now, on that same wall was a window, and back in the late 70s, it wasn't uncommon to put a box fan in the window and have it closed open. And my mom was nodding off slowly but surely. She closed her eyes once, opened up. I was playing by her knees. She closed her eyes again. When she opened them again, I was standing, but I was holding the box springs.
Oh.
So her first instinct was to reach for me. But before she could get her fingers on me, I went out the window with the box springs.
Oh my God.
On the second story of the house.
Oh my God.
Not just on the second story of the house, but right below there were the stairs to the basement. So 3 stories I was falling on top of a box springs as a toddler who couldn't even walk.
Oh my God.
So she's running through the house screaming bloody murder. She gets through the kitchen into the back. It was my Uncle Clarence, and he had the key to the back door. So she's yelling and screaming at him. She just knew that I was dead and needed help. So he unlocked the door. She opened up the door, and there I was on top of the box springs in the basement stairwells, playing and laughing on the fan.
Right.
Eventually, we both get rushed to the hospital. My mom is extremely hysterical.
Sure.
I'm laughing and bubbling.
Yeah.
And she's trying to hand me off to a doctor who finally takes me out of pity, and they end up having to give her a sedative. Because she was hysterical, I was fine. I didn't start freaking out till she freaked out more. And then when they gave her a sedative and she calmed down, I calmed down. I find that when I see parents of kids who have vitiligo, their emotional stability is going to be the child's emotional stability.
Oh, absolutely.
The parents are the ones that need to control themselves because it's not a problem. It's just something else to take care of.
You're talking about if the child has
vitiligo.
Yeah.
If the child, if the child has vitiligo, it tends to be the parents who freak out the most.
Right.
Because they have no clue
Right.
what their child's about to go through. They have no clue.
Right.
If there's a cure, they have no... Yeah,
Right.
exactly. The unknown.
And just as you wouldn't want yourself to be made fun of, all of a sudden you're just envisioning all these horrors for your child.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you try to protect them as much as you can, but when they're given something that you have no control of whatsoever, this is the major bonus about a child right now having vitiligo, is when I was young and had it, I thought I was the only one who had it. There was no internet.
Right.
The social media did not exist, so there was no connectivity to anyone else.
Right.
If I saw someone who had it, it was someone far away, and they would be gone in seconds.
Yeah.
I had no questions, no answers that I could get. But now the internet's here, and we have a huge support system in many different cities. And even in this one, I'm trying to be the president for the vitiligo awareness out here in St. Louis. I'm working with Viti Friends to get that to happen. But there's people like April Sawyer, who has her daughter who has pen pals with other children who have vitiligo. And if you stay calm and just connect with the resources, everything else is handled.
Right.
They can be